What does it take to build a high-performance organization? A high-performance organization that's filled with the type of performers that you want to have showing up, the top earners, the people that are out there crushing it, the people that are out there making things happen. Because after all, would you agree that if you want to build a sustainable 6, even 7-figure business, you cannot do it alone? If you believe this and if you're ready to figure out how to build a strong, high-performing team, then today's topic is going to be just right for you. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you, no matter where you might be on the Big Blue Marble. Thanks for joining us here. My name is JT DeBolt. This is the Elite Marketing Pro Daily Dose of Awesome. Great to be with you on a Friday as we close out another big week here in the EMP community. Grateful as always to be with you. As you're jumping out, give me a shout out. Let me know where you are tuning in from on the Big Blue Marble so I can give you a hello. And guess what? Today I can actually see the comments in the comments section. Very stoked for that. What's up, Fran? Great to see you. Sally, Tamar, Prague, out there in the UK. Good to see you, girlfriend. Can't wait to see you at No Excuses. I know you're going to be there. Lisa Gentile's coming in from Wisconsin. What's up, Wisconsin in the house? Good to see you guys. Today we're going to be talking specifically about some of the things that are required to build a high-performance team. And I'm going to give you something that you may not have thought about in the past. I'll give you a real-world example of how this actually showed up in a very iconic movie, by the way. And we'll be talking about that in just a second. Let's see who else is in here. Got lots of folks saying hello. Before I jump out, before I get going into the comments, just want to say I am pumped and excited for No Excuses. That is coming up here next month. Make sure you get yourself your tickets now. We're going to sell that thing out pretty soon. You want to start not just getting your tickets, but also booking your hotel, your airfare, getting stoked and getting ready for what I believe will be the greatest No Excuses we've had to date. Lots of amazing speakers are coming out. And man, good old Fernie Ceballos, man, you know he's got stuff planned. It's going to be an exciting event, so we're going to be bringing our best stuff. We want to see you out there. You are the reason we do these events. You, my friends, are the reason we do them. So make sure you get your tickets to No Excuses coming up here in June. What's up, Timothy Graff? Good to see you, my friend. Tomas, what's happening, man? Lots of folks jumping out here today. All right, so let's jump straight into this. If you've ever seen the movie A Few Good Men, you probably remember one of the most iconic lines ever delivered by an actor in a movie. If you've seen the movie A Few Good Men, you know it stars Tom Cruise, of course, Jack Nicholson. Anyway, my point is this. The movie is amazing because the cast of characters, the actual cast, is pretty remarkable. Some of the finest actors and actresses in the entire industry came together for this movie, and it was actually based on a play. I won't go into the whole plot of the movie, but there is a particular scene in the movie that you probably have all seen. If you've seen, by the way, if you've seen the movie A Few Good Men, give me a 1 in the chat box. All right. Hey, Curtis Bradley Autry, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you from Columbus. I got Mary Vroman coming in from South Dakota. What's going on out there in the Dakotas? Good to see you. Hopefully things are warming up for you, by the way. It's always about this time of year that hopefully things start to chill out. If you've seen the movie, okay, lots of people have seen the movie A Few Good Men, and you probably remember one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. In the movie, Colonel Troutman is on trial. He is the guy, or not Colonel Troutman. I can't think of his name now. Anyway, Jack Nicholson is playing the part of this Marine Corps colonel who is the commanding officer of Quantico, or I should say of, it just left me. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Jeez, you'd think I would know this as a military vet. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. And they're investigating the death of a Marine. And so there's this whole deposition. They're in the courtroom, and Tom Cruise is playing the attorney that's basically cross-examining Colonel Jessup. This is Jack Nicholson, right? So Jack Nicholson is in this movie. He plays Colonel Jessup, and he goes through this whole concept. There's this back and forth question, and finally he says to him, Tom Cruise says, "I want the truth." And what does Colonel Jessup say? "You can't handle the truth." And then he goes off on this big, long, pretty amazing line, this pretty amazing quote. Well, what most people don't realize about when they film the movie is that Jack Nicholson actually delivered that line between 40 and 50 different times. Not because he kept flubbing the line. In fact, he nailed it every single time. The reason he did it 40 to 50 times was to support his other actors, because when you shoot a scene like that, they have different angles and different responses, different facial reactions that each actor has to have in order to capture the mood of that moment. And as you can probably remember from that movie, it's a pretty intense scene, right? It's a pretty intense moment of the movie. But what's amazing about it is that Jack Nicholson, the actor, actually delivered that line 40 to 50 times. Now, that in and of itself is not that remarkable, because actors often do this. They'll be off camera and they'll just simply read the line, right? So they might have their script in their hand and they'll say, "You can't handle the truth." They would just read it and they would go through the whole thing, and then they would film the actor either sometimes saying something or not saying something to capture the mood of that particular part of the movie. But what's interesting about this is, unlike most actors, Jack Nicholson actually delivered it in character with that same intensity 40 to 50 times. And if you've never seen the movie, you've got to go see it. It's one of the most awesome, first and foremost, very well written, extremely well directed and produced. And I got to say, some of the best acting I've seen in a movie in a very long time. The point that I'm getting to here is this, is that Jack Nicholson could have easily just mailed it in. In fact, he could have just said, "Hey, get somebody else to read the line. I'm going to be back in my trailer having a cup of coffee or something," right? But instead, what he did is he showed up every single day, even though his work was done, even though they had filmed his part where his face is actually seen and his, he's actually going through the line and actually delivering that part of the show or part of the movie. He could have easily said, "I'm done. That's all my contract said. I got paid for this and that's what I'm going to do." But he showed up 40 to 50 other times just simply to help elevate the game for his fellow actors and cast members. Now, I'm told, and I've kind of read some of the folklore behind this particular scene in the movie, and they said that every time he delivered it, it got better and better and better. And when he did it, it actually raised the game of everybody, including the people off the set, like the key grip, the voice guy, or the person that's holding the microphones and the cameraman. Everybody on set was literally dialed in. They were so intense and giving their best effort simply because they saw the example that Jack Nicholson was leading by. And this is my point today. My point to all of this is, if you want to build a sustainable six-figure business, you and I both know that we cannot do it alone, all right? This is not something where you simply show up, learn a couple of tactics, flip a switch, and then all of a sudden you're making six figures. It doesn't work that way. Especially in this industry, especially this business model requires that we build strong teams. Does that make sense? If you believe that success is a team sport, if you believe that you must and can actually build a successful, strong team, then give me a 2 in the chat box. I want to see how many leaders I got out there. Lisa Gentile says, "Yeah, it was pretty amazing." It was. I got to say, man, one of my favorite scenes in a movie. In fact, what's interesting about this, just so you know, a little backstory, Jack Nicholson was actually nominated for, I believe it was 4 Academy Awards and 5 Golden Globes. And that line, that quote, "You can't handle the truth," and then the rest of the speech that came after that is listed in the American Film Institute's top 30 lines, movie quotes of all time. Of all the movies ever made, that was in the top 30. I don't really know where it ranks. It's it's really kind of irrelevant at this point. The point is that it was so awesome and so iconic. And the only way that movie and that Jack Nicholson and everybody else could have had those accolades is because he led from the front. He led by example. He actually showed up and gave his best stuff. He didn't just mail it in. He didn't just do what was asked of him. He delivered and over-delivered over and over and over again until. And there wasn't one of these things where they said, "Well, this is going to take 40 to 50 times. He just kept going. And then finally they said, "Dude, we got it. Let's wrap it." And they probably had, again, one of the best scenes in a movie ever recorded. Okay, so I see lots of people out here. Ray Perlman, Tomas Leto, Curtis Bradley Autry, Tony Stewart. Lots of people giving me 2s here, which tells me, yeah, you definitely understand that success is a team sport. You cannot do it on your own. In fact, you don't want to do it on your own. You want to have the benefit of a strong team. But how do we do this? How do we perform? How do we do something that's pretty awesome, almost on that level of a Jack Nicholson in our businesses, whether it's a network marketing business, whether you're building EMP, whether you're building both, maybe you're out there building your own brand and you have to build and lead a team. What is it you have to do? Lots of people out there. What's going on, Jan? Good to see you. The first thing that we have to do is realize, just like Jack Nicholson, we got to be willing and committed to, in fact, build a habit of giving just a little bit of extra effort each and every single time. I'll use the workout analogy. Imagine that you have a workout Imagine that somebody, a physical trainer, has given you the workout regime and they say, okay, you're going to lift this particular amount of weight and you're supposed to lift it 3 sets of 12 reps. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 12. You're going to do that 3 times. Well, you know that after a while, after you've started to build that muscle and build that strength, that if you really want to break through, you really want to build that next level strength, you really want to have that ability to be much better than yourself, that maybe those 12 reps aren't quite enough. Maybe you get to that point where that last rep is super hard and you're like, oh my gosh, I could barely get 12. Well, what if you gave 1 more? What if you gave 2 more? What if you were able to give 2 or 3 more reps above and beyond the one that was prescribed? Well, guess what? Just as in physical fitness, just as in building muscle, the same thing occurs when we give a little bit of extra effort in our business. Now, obviously, Jack Nicholson proved that, right? 40 to 50 times. I mean, come on. You'd think he'd blow his voice out trying to do that many times. But how often do we in our business give that little extra effort? Case in point, today's Friday, right? For most people, I mean, although our Australian friends down under, it's probably already Saturday. The point being is that, it's very easy to kind of mail it in at the end of a week. We may kind of go into cruise control and say, well, I did the best I could this week. And now I'm going to kind of head into the weekend, kick my feet up. I've earned it. Which is probably true. Nothing wrong with that. But the question I would challenge you with is how much extra effort are you willing to put in right here, right now? What's that one extra repetition that you might give right here, right now, today that could make the difference, not just for you and your business, but for your team members and the people that you're bringing in, your customers, your clients, the people that are looking at you, your audience? Maybe today's a great day for you to flip that camera on and go Facebook Live and share a little bit of wisdom, share something that you learned from this week, share something great that happened. Case in point, this week, my daughter just found out that she got elected the student body president for her middle school. This was amazing. It was a huge win for her because she actually ran last year and was beat out. It was a very close race, but she didn't make it. When they told her that she didn't make it, they said, but we didn't have anybody run for secretary, so would you like to be the secretary? I mean, imagine this. You're running for the president. You got president, vice president, and then secretary. So she had to check her ego on the spot in a moment of true heartbreak and disappointment. And she said, yes, whatever I can do to serve our community or to serve our student body, I'm willing to do it. So she took that role and she did that little extra effort in the moment. Even though she was disappointed, she could have said, no, I came here to be the president and the president only. But she did something pretty amazing. In that moment, she had the poise, she had the confidence, and she also had that sense of something bigger, which I'll get to in a second. And she said, yes, I'll take that role as the student body secretary. And she served for an entire year, established herself within the community, established herself within her student body, and this year she won. And my friends, I got to tell you, it was one of the closest margins ever. I think it was like 6 votes was the separation between her and the kid that she beat out to become the student body president. Plus, she won the interview series. You got to go through an interview with the staff of the school, and she won that part of the competition as well. So my only point to this is that what is it that you can do right here, right now? Just one thing that would be that little extra effort. I'm curious. I actually want to know. So type it in the chat box. By the way, thanks for all the congratulations. That's very cool. I appreciate you guys. Type it into the chat box of an example of something that you might do today that's just that one little extra effort, that one little extra action that you might take today that could serve your business, that could serve your customers, your clients, your team members, the people that you've brought on already, and those people that have yet to come on board. I'd love to see that. Ray Perman says, yeah, it only takes 1 vote to win. You're absolutely right. It only takes 1. Luckily, she got 6. But I mean, you consider the size of her student body, the entire school. That was a close race. Okay, so Ray says, hey, I'm going to do a Facebook Live on my business page. Fantastic, Ray. Go get some. That's awesome. That is an effort, by the way, that may be a big effort, and that's fine too. It doesn't matter the style or the size or the scale. What matters is the intent behind it. Does that make sense? Which actually brings me to my second point. If you really want to build a high-performance team and elevate your game while helping everybody else elevate theirs, you got to commit to a higher level of excellence. All right. Now, what this means is I truly believe we're all here doing something pretty awesome. If you're an entrepreneur, let's face it, if you're here in this community, you're kind of next level. Can we agree with that? Can we all kind of agree that you're kind of next level? You're not the typical entrepreneur that's out there plodding along, chasing shiny objects, looking for the next easy fix. For the most part, I would suggest, I'd say 100%, but I could be off. Most people that come here, if not everybody that comes here, is committed to that next level, right? You're a higher level entrepreneur, a little more sophisticated, a little more probably savvy than most folks. And that's not a judgment on anybody else. It's just that, like attracts like. And we definitely have amazing people in this community. You just have to look around and see them. I mean, you could see the people right here in the chat box if you don't believe me, right? But what's crazy about it is, by the way, Angeline Constantino says, I'm going to work on my business page, Facebook Live too. Awesome. Get out there and do it, man. I love this. This is so cool. Tony Stewart, I'm going to script my next Facebook Live. Yes. Curtis Bradley Autry says, I'm going to contact a lead. Absolutely. Contact that person. Reach out to them. Find out what it is you can do to help them. Find out what their pains are, their frustrations, their excitements are, and answer that. Show them what you might be able to do to bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be with what you have and what you do. Anyway, when we elevate our game, when we commit to excellence, for instance, lots of people, what's up, Carrie Wilson in the house? When we commit ourselves to excellence, what happens is we already show up. We're already at a level of excellence anyway. But when we hold ourselves to higher standards, what happens is that we start to walk the walk like a true leader, like a true professional, right? We're not going to just accept whatever comes our way. And sometimes, isn't it true that sometimes you put forth maximum effort and you get maybe just a little bit of a result? That's fine. But as an old mentor of mine used to say way back in the day, he said, I'm happy, but I'm not content. I'm grateful, but I'm not content, which means that even though he's getting great results in his business, he's going to take a moment to be grateful for what he's got. He's going to be happy about anything that comes his way because he's truly coming from a place of joy in his business, but he's not content. Because the whole, lesson there that he was illustrating to me was he didn't want to allow success to make him lazy or success to make him complacent. Isn't that cool? I mean, I always thought that was such a cool line. And to this day, I still like to use that as kind of a personal mantra, something that's inside my internal drive system, my internal combustion engine inside me that keeps me pushing and going each and every single day. Grateful, but not content. And that's what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about elevating your level of excellence by keeping high standards for yourself. Now, listen, I'm not talking about impossible standards, but remember the Jack Nicholson example, right? He showed up. He could have just said, let's say on the 20th rep, the 20th time he delivered that line. And if you've ever seen the line, you know what I'm talking about. He didn't just go, you can't handle the truth. Son, we live in a world that has walls. Who's going to protect those walls? He didn't do it that way. He went off, man. What? You can't handle the truth, right? It was like super intense. And he did it 40 to 50 times because he had such high standards for himself and higher standards for the people with whom he was working. That's what I'm talking about. If we elevate our game, then everybody else is going to rise to that level. If we hold ourselves down here, they're going to say, well, I guess that's the baseline. And that's what's expected of me. That's how come it's so important for us, each and every single one of us as leaders and professionals, to hold ourselves, hold each other, and hold this industry to a higher standard. Now, it doesn't mean we go around being dictators, right? We don't go around judging other people. We're going to respect them for who they are and where they're at. We're going to meet them at where they're at. But then we're going to serve them in the capacity of being that beacon of light that they can follow to that next level, right? So if they're here, we want to stay here, and we're going to say, hey, come with me up here. And that's going to encourage them, and they're going to want to naturally follow us to that level. Some won't, but most will. And the ones that don't, that's okay. We'll wish them well and hope the best for them. If this is working for you, give me a 3 in the chat box. I want to see folks out there. This is awesome, by the way. Susan Vasquez says, confirmation for me that Facebook Live is what I need to be doing. That's cool, man. I love that. And listen, any confirmation that you need that you're pointing in the right direction, that's how come a community is so powerful. And that's the real reason we want you guys to show up here every Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. All right, cool. Now, all right, lots of 3s coming in here. That's beautiful. Now, the next part to this that's very important is, and by the way, this next piece to me, I think is one of the most important pieces to this, right? Something that is definitely evident in Jack Nicholson's performance in A Few Good Men, and that is a commitment to something bigger than yourself, all right? Something bigger than yourself. When I flew in the United States Navy, I can tell you it was awesome. Everybody was like, man, you're a Navy pilot. How cool is that? Blah, 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 right? And that's fine. That's neat, I guess. That's never what it was about for me, though. What it was about being a part of something so much bigger, right? Obviously serving what for me is the greatest country on the planet Earth. And I don't mean that from a nationalistic or separatist way. I just mean, I was born and raised here, so I was committed to that. To be able to serve with amazing men and women, to be able to serve a pretty powerful, important, if not dangerous mission, but also to be a part of something bigger. That was one of the biggest drivers that I had as a military officer and leader. And now as a business owner, as a business leader, in fact, the director of leadership development here in what I suggest is the greatest company in the industry. Do you all agree with that, EMP? That to me is amazing, to wake up every day knowing that I'm part of something bigger than myself. Right? Part of something bigger than my own gain, part of something bigger than my own results. And hopefully you see that as well, whether you're building EMP, whether you're building a network marketing business. The point is, it's not just about our own financial freedom. It's not just about our own time freedom. It's not just about our own results. It's about doing something even bigger than the results. The results just so happen to be a pretty awesome byproduct of our commitment to something bigger. Does that make sense? And isn't it awesome? I mean, man, it just gets me charged up thinking about how cool it is that we have this responsibility. In fact, this awesome playground to show up to every single day, where we're actually making an impact in people's lives. Simply because we show up, we have a higher standard for ourselves, we do that little extra effort every single day, and we play the freaking game to win. Now that, my friends, is something bigger than ourselves. And yeah, we do get to benefit. It's pretty awesome. But when we're getting the ball rolling in the beginning, and maybe the results aren't showing up quite yet, maybe you're not seeing the high performance level, maybe you're not building that team yet. When you have that internal intention, right? When it's inside your heart, when it's inside your mind, when it comes out through every word you speak and every action that you perform on a daily basis, every behavior that you carry forth, when you're saying to yourself, man, this is about something bigger than myself, people pick up on that. They get it. They feel it. And if it comes from a place of authenticity, brother and sisters, you're going to freaking have an absolutely amazing business that you'll build. And by the way, not only will it be big and successful and happy and blah, 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 it'll be sustainable. And it'll be something you'll be super proud about. All right. If this is working for you, give me a high five in the chat box. I want to see some high five out there. And by the way, Jan, yes, you're right. EMP family rocks. I agree. Lots of folks saying yes. Lots of people jumping in there. All right. I love this. This is totally badass. So much fun to close out a week. Listen, Monday through Friday, I could give it doesn't matter to me what day it is, but it's kind of cool to spend a Friday with you guys. Just want you to know. Getting ready to go into the weekend, something to chew on, something to think about. Okay, so the last piece to this, and you've heard me say this so many times that it's probably become rote memorization for you. Hopefully it has by now. And that is this. It's not just about doing one little extra effort, all right? And it's not just about elevating your game and having high standards for yourself. And so lots of people, yeah, there's a high fives, man. It's not about just playing for something bigger than yourself. It's also about being passionately committed to the process, right? Not just the end result. When Jack Nicholson showed up to that thing 40 or 50 times and he delivered it at that high value or that high level every single time, he was committed to the execution every single time. Not just doing it for the sake of doing it, not just going through the motions, but literally performing an Academy Award winning level performance every single time, knowing that not every single one of those was going to make the final cut, right? He didn't care. He was holding himself to such a high standard, and he was more passionate about the execution than he was the end result. I doubt very much, and I don't know, maybe he could prove me wrong on this, but I doubt very much that Jack Nicholson said, okay, here we go. This is how I'm going to win an Academy Award, right? I doubt very much that that's what was going through his mind. Instead, my guess, my supposition, my hallucination, if that's what you want to call it, is that Jack Nicholson probably said to himself, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And all I know how to do is do it at this level. If we take that same attitude on with everything we do, whether it's a Facebook Live, whether it's an email, whether it's a Zoom chat with somebody, whether it's a simple post on Facebook, whatever we decide to do when it comes to our business and even our lives, if we say, man, I'm just committed to the process. I just love the fact that I get to come out here and do this. and sort of detach ourselves from this desire to have to know that it's going to pay off, right? This desire to have a return on some sort of an investment. If we could get away from that, man, our performance is going to go right through the roof. And guess what else is going to happen? Something pretty remarkable is going to happen, is the people that we pull along with us, they're going to be a higher caliber person too, because they're going to be naturally attracted to that stuff. You know, they may not in their lives at that time be performing at that level, but something internally is going to flip, right? It's like a switch that's going to go off inside their head. They're going to say to themselves, you know what? I know I'm capable of more. I know that I could elevate my game. I know there's something more for me in my life and in my business. And this person, you're going to represent that example that they're going to want to follow. Now, does that mean that they're just automatically going to roll out of bed and be, hitting it hard and become top performers right away? No. Does it mean that you're going to naturally be a top performer right out of the gate? Maybe, maybe not. But that's, again, not the point, because we're not committed to the result. We're committed to the delivery of the execution. We're committed to the process that gets us there. And the more committed we are to the process, the more quickly and more big and wonderful the results are going to end up being in the long run. Listen, my friends, this is an amazing, amazing journey we're on. Would you agree? I mean, this is a huge privilege we have to be able to build our own businesses on our terms. Any day of the week we decide to get out here, whether it's 7 days a week, 5 days a week, or 1 day a week, whether we show up to it for an hour, we show up to it for a 15-hour go, it doesn't matter. The fact is, if we show up and we say to ourselves, listen, I'm here to do a little bit extra every single day. I'm here to hold myself to a higher standard. I'm here to raise other people up, bring them with me. I'm here to do a little bit more, commit to something bigger than myself. And more importantly, I'm here to be passionate and totally in love with the process, come what may. I'm telling you this, that might be a secret recipe for success, may or may not be. But I will tell you what I do know is it definitely helped people like Jack Nicholson do some amazing stuff and make an iconic presence in a movie that most people have seen and probably don't even realize the backstory of. But more importantly, it's something that you and I can duplicate and emulate in our business starting right here, right now, today. So as you head into the weekend, go out there and do the stuff you love to do. Spend time doing them with the people you love being around. But more importantly, give some consideration today of that one little extra thing you might do before you close the books on the week and head into the weekend. That one little extra effort you can make, how you can demonstrate to the people around you by living the example of excellence, by raising your game and raising everybody else with you. When you take that approach, my friends, you're going to be unstoppable. And my friend, you are unstoppable. And that's how come I'm grateful to be with you every single Monday through Friday right here. We as the EMP family are grateful to have you here on the Daily Dose of Awesome, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be doing it again on Monday, so make sure you get back here on Monday, refreshed, recharged, ready to kick ass and take names, and we'll be here waiting for you. And remember, no matter what course you fly in life, fly high, fly fast, and fly far. Have an amazing weekend, my friends. We'll see you all very soon. Take care.